is blasting the 8-0 countdown. And then I'm going to be looking to the corner because that's where you're going to be at on the video.
All right, cool.
All right. We are officially live. Let me put this thing on my questions. And then mute this one. All right. So we are live on Facebook right now with Coach Travis Eaton. He's at Minnesota right now, and he's going for grad school right now, right, Eaton?
Yep, I'm going for grad school. I have my own life coaching business too here.
So this purpose of this interview is going to be a life coach interview where with this situation, we're going to need this to rely on our coping skills. And a lot of people are being affected by this. So that's why I invited Travis Eaton for this little one-on-one interview. But anybody can jump in and ask questions on Facebook Live or in the Zoom website I posted early this week. So Eaton, how you doing?
Loving life, man. How are you?
Good, man. So thank you for being with us. Thank you for doing this with me. I know you're busy. We already talked about offline, but I know you're really busy. So thank you for taking the time and do this with me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So can you tell us what life coach is? What the whole concept of life coach?
Yeah. So there's a big industry out there of life coaching, and it started up a while back. But major thing here, what life coaching is, it's a partnership. Think of it like a sports coach. What does a sports coach do for his athletes? He doesn't actually play the game with them. He coaches them. And with that, he doesn't really give that much advice. He knows the athlete is already good. He knows the athlete is awesome. He just needs to get the athlete's performance out of them. So that's what I do as a life coach. You can think of me as a professional question asker, basically. I help get what's in your mind out on here, because all the answers to your whole life, everything that you want, it's found on the inside. It's not found on the outside. So that's what I do there. I'm a non-judgmental partner with you. We dive into your mind, dive into what you want to be for your life here. My whole niche, my whole kind of organization is built on helping people live their most true and authentic life. Now that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. For a lot of my clients, it's just being a good father, being a good mother. For some, it's about having a lot of girls. It's about having a lot of money. It's very different for everyone else. And what I do is I help you live that most true and authentic life. I help you set up an action plan, long-term goals, short-term goals, and then we dive into that. I hold you accountable week by week by week. And then we deal with any internal or kind of external barriers that you could hit on. So I'm a partner that just helps you live the best life that you possibly can.
And what are the different styles you guys deal with when coaching somebody?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different niches out there when it comes to kind of different styles and different coaches. For me, I'm an energy coach. So I really dive into basically your feelings, your thoughts, and why you're thinking that the way that you are. And if that stems from anabolic energy or catabolic energy. Anabolic energy is energy that builds. It's released in our bodies through dopamine and serotonin. And catabolic energy is energy that destroys you. It's released through serotonin and cortisol and stuff like that. Or not serotonin, but cortisol. So it's all about that mindset that you first have. Why are you having this mindset, and what is it doing to your body? So I dive into that. So that's what my niche is as a coach. There's a lot of different coaches out there though. There's business coaches, there's executive coaches, there's leadership coaches, there's coaches for the military. If there is a domain out there, there's a coach for it in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. So with the coaching things, we're gonna focus today on the whole virus situation, because I know it's affecting a lot of people. And so we talked offline a little bit. We want to talk about it right now. So, what you have been doing to help people around the world during this crisis.
Yeah, so I've been really vamping up my social media presence. I've been doing a lot of kind of free calls, just 30 minutes. Normally my coaching sessions last about an hour, but these 30-minute coaching calls, they're all centered around basically shifting your mind and finding maybe some fun and enjoyment that you can do at home, but basically shifting your mind to what you can control right now. Because the major pattern, I've been coaching people around the whole world since this thing's happened, like either like through messages or through Zoom, just like this. Major pattern here is fear and not being in control. And not being in control of a lot of different things. We're really not. We're not in control of, who we can see. We're trapped inside the house. And for a lot of us and for a lot of people, they don't like the house that they already live in. So this sucks even more for them. So they're trapped at home, maybe with a family member that they don't like, maybe with a spouse they don't like. And there's just a lot of conflict already going on. So I help you dive into whatever is going on for you. Maybe you feel like you're not in control. Maybe you're just in fear or just straight apathy mode right now. I dive into that with you, and then we dive into why you're feeling this and begin with. How does this fear either serve you, or how does it, because everything has its advantages, right? Fear can help in some way, shape, or form, but it can also take away a lot too. Everything has a vice to it. So I help you kind of build awareness around how fear is helping you right now, and how it's also kind of killing your whole spirit. Then we dive into just some action plans you can take from this whole session. For a lot of people, they take from it that they just want to have some more fun. Maybe they want to cook more, maybe they want to play some more video games. And major thing here, that pattern I'm also noticing, is that a lot of people are investing in the stuff that they can't really have accomplished outside of this coronavirus. For a lot of people, a lot of like leaders, a lot of people are hustling all the time at work. And they just go and go and go and go. Everyone has been forced to stop. So I help them identify, first off, what they need to be working on right now for them and how they can start working on it. And it kind of builds a little bit more productive mindset.
And what about the people that would throughout this whole crisis and depression and personal feelings about this, start creating a habit that is really wrong, like, drinking more, doing more drugs? Like, how can we help them using your services that you can provide?
Well, for sure, for one, they have to want to improve. They want to improve. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. All right. Maybe you're going for a really tough time right now. Maybe it's okay for you to get fucking shit faced. That's fine. But if this is a habit that you want to get out of your system here, then I dive into that. I dive into why this habit's even here to begin with. What kind of feeling is spiking this action? Because you got to understand, from a psychological perspective, we take a stimulus. From that stimulus, we make a thought. That thought makes a story. That story stems from that kind of energy I told you about, the catabolic or anabolic energy. From that story stems a feeling, because, hey, every thought that we have spikes a feeling. And from that feeling stems an action. So similar to the military here, I make you work backwards from what's going on right now. What are you doing? What are you feeling? What thought process is spiking this feeling? Why are you thinking the way that you are? So that's one thing that's really could help a lot of people too, if they want it.
And what about if this goes for the long run? With people, a lot of people are saying that this could be 12, 18 months, and a lot of people can fall in that crisis mentality. Yeah. What is the biggest issue society will have when coping with this situation?
I feel like the biggest issue would just be that lack of control. One of my clients, just prior to me jumping on this call, she said the best. She feels like a toddler right now who's just throwing a hissy fit. A lot of her plans were destroyed. She's even out of a part-time job here. She still has another job to rely on, but she's out of this part-time job here. So her income has drastically decreased. And she's just a toddler. She's just a toddler throwing a hissy fit. And the toddler is not in control of anything, but the toddler's throwing this hissy fit because she feels like, there's a lot of fear, a lot of apathy going on. And that fear, all conflict is just a mask for fear. That's all it is. So there could be a lot more conflict that comes from this fear, as more and more we feel it. The more and more you look on the news here and you see this many people died today, this amount of people are sick, that's a lot of fear that can be spiked right there. And from that fear can spike some conflict. So the major thing here that people got to watch out for is just, what kind of stimulus are you taking in? How is it affecting you? And what do you want to do with it? Like straight up,
Okay.
what do you want to do with it? Because that's a
That's
really
it.
hard thing. That's a really
Yeah,
hard thing to detach yourself from your feelings, but it's
exactly.
something that can help.
And what are the different tools you can provide today that we can get people in the mindset around dealing with this crisis?
Yeah, in terms of tools, I would say the major thing here, one of my good mentors kind of taught me this a while ago. I still do it to this day. Every day I get a piece of paper and I write down, how am I feeling today? Just write down the question, how am I feeling today? And then put in bullet points below that, exactly how you're feeling. Today I felt like kind of shit. I didn't want to wake up. I woke up at 11. I was just like, God, don't want to do this right now. But I also
Mm-hmm.
felt grateful to be in a place where, it's warm. I got coffee, I got food. And then just after that question too, write down what you're grateful for and really
Mm-hmm.
go deep on everything you're grateful for, even the smallest things. I'm grateful for my cat just chilling here. I'm grateful for my mom and my parents still being alive. I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
for me being alive. I'm grateful for
Mm-hmm.
so many things. Then just after
Mm-hmm.
that question, write down, what are you proud of? What are you proud of? Now, this could be anything you've done in your life. You could be proud of you just getting up and walking as a toddler, because that's awesome. You can be proud of your
Mm-hmm.
life just the way that you are. Be proud of so many things. And then once you get done with writing all that down on a sheet of paper, read it back to you. Read it back to you. Trust me, there's going to be a change in your energy. There will be. By the time you
Mm-hmm.
get done with the last thing you're proud of, there's going to be a change.
And this is a tool that even parents can do, like with their kids. You know what I mean? Because their kids are at home right now, out of school. They're just doing online college or online school right now. So this is something that somebody can pick up and do it for themselves and even for their family members.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I feel like the biggest thing that's come out of this for me and a lot of people, a lot of my clients too, so what are you grateful for? Because this is putting it all in perspective, because we're getting a lot of things taken away from us. So what are you grateful for when your kind of freedoms are kind of taken away from you? And that's
Mm-hmm.
powerful, because that's the shit
Exactly.
that really does matter.
And especially when you get to look at what's getting taken away from you, the fact that you don't need most of the stuff they've taken away from you. You only need a roof over your
Yeah.
head and some food in your fridge, you know? So like
Yeah.
having this perspective of like, oh, I need to drive my car down the road for chits and giggle. Then you find out you can't drive anymore. You're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
shit, I actually don't need to drive anymore. So I think it's like a lot of people
Yeah.
who have a lot of issues in the future. If this goes for the long run, this is going to be like a society issue, especially for depression and stress.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be. It can be. But it's just how you perceive it. It's your
Mm-hmm.
perception. Your perception is your reality.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the military has helped me so much right now, because of course you're in the military too. A lot of freedoms are getting taken away from you, a lot. So you
Mm-hmm.
just focus on what you can do and focus
Exactly.
on what's productive right now. So yeah,
Exactly.
without a doubt, I tell my friends this all the time. It's like, some of this shit is nothing compared to the things I've done like
Exactly.
throughout my life. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, I get to
Exactly.
sit at home, eat Cheez-Its, play video games. Cool, man. All right.
Exactly. So if before we go to a harder topic, I wanna add something to this. So if somebody wanna get life coach advice from anybody, your colleagues and everything, how can they do it?
Well, for one, I don't give advice. No, if no actual coach gives advice,
Okay.
all the advice I'm giving right now is just as a human being. But if you do want to get coaching, of course, you can hit me up on Facebook. My website's under construction right now, and that's a whole nother story in itself. But you can also go on the Institute Professional Excellence in Coaching.com, and that's where I did all my training. And it's a wonderful group of coaches. They're one of the best coaching institutions in all of America, in the whole world, actually. I learned so much from them that changed my life personally. So the abbreviation for it is IPEC, IPEC, and .com. So look
Okay.
that up. And then, of course, you can always DM me if you have more messages.
Perfect. So we want to jump in a little bit sidetrack from specifically your job, but
Yeah.
this jumped out of the news for me, and I sent it to you earlier. But basically,
Yeah.
this is going to be a situation that even if President Trump added up on his press brief a couple of weeks ago that said that if this goes for the long run, the spike numbers on this situation will spike to numerous a new whole deal. Then even the coronavirus is going to look like a baby. So this morning we got the news that a 34-year-old man took his life after being unable to cope with the coronavirus, which is what we're talking about today. But what it seems like is specifically this man was by himself, isolation to an individual. So a lot of people are isolated with family members or somebody, parents or even couples. But so for people that are by themselves, and especially our grandmas and our grandfather who's at the homes, how can we mitigate this from being a long distance relationship with them throughout this whole process?
Yeah. And I read that story myself too. And that's the type of person I don't deal with. He was bipolar, and I don't deal with mental disorder. That's not coaching. That's more psychotherapy. I can tell you here, and it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this too. I just read a wonderful book. It's called Flourishing by Martin Seligman. He's a positive psychology psychologist anyways. And he was talking about all the things he did for the military, the master resiliency training. That was that dude. The whole thing. And he was talking about some of his research on PTSD. And he said the most fascinating thing that still strikes me to this day. It was the stimulus of combat doesn't actually cause PTSD. It was the anxiety that the soldier had before experiencing the stimulus. So if a person is high in anxiety already and they experience a stimulus like that, they're going to have more PTSD than a person who's pretty low in anxiety. That guy stuck out with me, and I feel like that's a good avenue approach for a lot of people. That's something I had to learn with myself too. How do I word this? Can you be okay with being by yourself?
Seems like we lost him.
Yeah. You got me? Gonzo?
All right. I got you back. You say, yeah, I got you back.
Yeah. So the major thing that can come out of that is that why don't you feel okay being by yourself? That's the major question you should be asking yourself, because you're born in this world. 9 times out of 10, you're born in this world alone. You're going to leave this world alone. We're alone in some way, shape, or form. Change is always a constant. It always is. The people around us are always changing. They're moving. They're dying. More are being born. Change is always a constant. The only constant is really you. So turn inwards now. Get to know yourself a little bit better so you feel okay being by yourself, which I feel like a lot of people, they are not okay with being by themselves. When you eat breakfast, when you eat dinner, you got to look at a TV screen, right? Because you can't sit there and be okay with your own thoughts. You can't be in silence. It's one thing I had to work on with my own clients too. He had a hard time sitting in silence. Like, that's freaky for a lot of people, just sitting in complete silence. And I feel like that's room for growth. That's room for growth. Recognizing what do you feel right now when you're by yourself, because, hey, it sucks being by yourself. It does. I got you 100%. But for me personally, I've done this type of work for so long. I'm really okay being by myself. I really, truly am. Now, in the long term, we speak for 10 years here. Yes, I'm going to need to be around people after a certain amount of time. But I love myself. I truly do. And that comes from being able to be by myself and actually live with myself.
Yeah. So basically, like, use the situation for as a benefit, and think about positive thoughts, and use the same tools we already talked about, but like basically see them in the positive side and kind of find yourself, read some books and see what you're passionate about. Maybe you need a career change. Maybe this is like an eye opener for a career change.
Yeah, it is. It is for a lot of people. Yeah. A lot of people, they go. They don't have enough time to fucking look in the mirror and be like, whoa, this is the person I am. Who am I? Like, fuck, like what happened? Like, now's that time to look at yourself. Now's that time for this type of internal work. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not the most, I'm an optimistic dude, but I'm also a realist. Like, man, if you're having a stressed out fucking day, it's okay to binge on ice cream. It's okay to have a drink every now and then. Because, hey, it's a stressful time and it's totally understandable why you need that outlet. But what would be more productive right now? Would it be drinking right now, binging on some ice cream, or maybe just turning inward, maybe doing some journaling, maybe reading a book, maybe meditating a little bit? Always ask yourself, what would be more productive right now? If being drunk out of your ass right now is more productive for you right now because you need it, good on you. No judgment here. But I feel like for a lot of people, what the major thing would be more productive right now, we're looking inwards to yourself.
Yeah, that one person commented and said that this happens to them, and they totally agree with the last statement, saying that, you know what I mean, like you can be by yourself. You know what I mean, like you need to have people around you. So they kind of agree, and that happens a lot of people, everybody. You know, even for myself, I need to have people around me all the time because if not, I'm gonna feel all depressed and all lonely. You know, and isolation is not a big thing for me at all. But obviously, I'm having a good time. But the whole, if it was like for the long term, I'm definitely not gonna be. I'm not gonna be okay. 100%.
Yeah, that's totally understandable why you won't be okay. You're an extrovert. You value being around people here. You need that energy. A lot of people are in the same boat. Myself in particular, I need to be around people in some way, shape, or form.
And this is a question. Now that you say extrovert, would you the same coaching style different for extroverts, introverts? How would you, coach somebody, or what will you tell them to an extrovert, and what will you tell to an introvert, especially throughout this crisis?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm a professional question asker. The whole extrovert introvert thing. I study psychology like it's no tomorrow, and I'm a big believer in that type of in personality psychology. That doesn't play a role in my coaching at all. I don't personally care what your personality is. I want to find out what your personality is because you're going to tell me, because I'm digging so deep into your mind, you're going to bring it up. But it's more of what my client wants. If my client's an introvert, hey, maybe they're having a good time reading by themselves right now. But at the same time, if my client's an extrovert, maybe they need some type of outlet to be around people. The only difference between the extrovert and introvert is where to get that energy. Where's their reset button? But what I found with both these kind of archetypes is that it's kind of like percentages. It really is. Introverts maybe be like, over like 60% or so, and maybe 40% extroverted, and extroverts maybe be 60 and 40. There's always like a percentage. So a lot of people can be introverted for a long time, but at the end of the day, you're human. You're going to need to be talking to some people. So,
but at this point, but like coronavirus would kind of focus more on, I'm not saying focus, but I'm saying like, in a way, we all being isolated in our homes, we kind of have to become introvert if you're an extrovert person in a certain way, or kind of use what we're doing right now and use like social media and everything to be an extrovert and try to help people. But at the same time, you kind of have to find that introvert in you and kind of read some books and find yourself and write a piece of paper and write what motivates you every morning. So,
there's a lot of power. There's a lot of power being introverted. There really is. I wish I was more introverted, to tell you fucking truth sometimes. Sometimes I'm too extroverted sometimes. And you know the way I talk. I talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Sometimes I need to be a little bit introverted, sit back and let other people talk. And that's one thing I'm learning right now about myself.
Exactly. All right, man. So any other tools or anything that you can give to people throughout this crisis, especially for the long run? We talked about writing a piece of paper, or anything else we would like to add before we close these out?
Dude, I would say major thing here is just ask yourself what's productive right now. Ask yourself what's productive for me, my family, other people right now. For a lot of people, I know a lot of people in the personal development community, they're just hammering down still. They're still working out. They're working out at home. They're reading a ton of books, really investing in themselves. But at the same time, how long is that going to last? Because that stress, it's always still going to be there. You're just putting more and more shit behind it. You're just shoving shit into the closet so you can continue to work. Deal with that stress. Deal with that stress to a safe and productive way that you need to. If you need a drink, if you need to eat some ice cream, eat some ice cream. But let's think what's going to be productive in the long term. And in the short term, maybe that will help you right now. Maybe it will give you some dopamine. Maybe it will kind of help you a little bit. Think about what's in the long term here. When in the long term, you want to read some books. You want to maybe catch up on some Netflix that you haven't caught up on. The Tiger King documentary, good God, you learn a lot from that. If you want to work on that side hustle that you've been, really kind of pushing off because you work so much.
Exactly.
A lot of things you could be doing right now, man. There really is. And your emotions, they're gonna stop you from thinking about what's productive right now.
Exactly.
And why your emotions are like that, because they serve a purpose. Fear serves a purpose. But the major thing here is to understand, are you at choice of the fear because it serves you, or are you at the cause of the fear? And if once you're at cause of fear, you have no control over the fear, it's going to run your life. So try to be a choice of the fear, because that's going to bring you above it and choose if you want to have it in your life or not.
Like use the motivation of fear to be more productive, like you said. So that's a good point. For everybody who's watching us, the whole 20 minutes that we just spent together, we talked about coping mechanism throughout this crisis and the fear of the unknown. That's the title of our interview here. If you like to have more information, can you say the website again? Yeah,
so the website is the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching, IPEC, IPEC.com. You can hit them up, and it's a wonderful organization. Like I said, I learned so much from them. If you want more details about that, you can also cold message me on Facebook. I'm a very outgoing guy, obviously. So 2 resources right there you can always hit up.
Hey, man, thank you for being with us. There's a lot of people that definitely would need to use this as their motivational. They can watch this and they'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, I can take that tool and implement it in my family. So thank you for taking the time with us. Yeah. Thank you for taking these 30 minutes and helping us out and giving us some tips and tricks to cope with this situation that nobody likes, but we have to deal with it because we're obligated at this point.
Exactly. Change is the only constant, and all pain is what's the word for it? Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional.
Exactly. All right, man. Thank you for everything.
All right, brother.
Thank you, brother. See you around.
Bye.